Attends, c'est quoi le plan de merde, Scout? Qu'est-ce que tu fais? Ah, t'es la pire. Qu'est-ce que tu fais, Scout? Oh, je peux faire ça? Oh, bah, t'es belle chiotte! Qu'est-ce que tu fais? Tu fais la grosse pénante, hein? Hop, ça c'est un petit peu l'autre. Oui. T'as de poêle. She is right over there. There you go. Yep. Hi guys, can you hear and see me? Awesome. So, hi on horseback, hi travel destinations, hi Victor, it's been a while. Hi me, myself and I. Hello Otto. Hi Misha. Hi Lise. Hi Lana. Happy holidays everyone. Hi San. Hi Patricia. Wow, lots of people here today. I wasn't sure if I was gonna stream, but I figured that this is like between really intense moments of the holidays, so I hope everyone has had great holidays so far. Yeah, Scout is being a pain in the butt because she's like, I'm hungry, I want to eat, but she's eaten all of lunch. And she's just being like annoying. She's like, meh, I want to eat, meh, I want to eat. I'm like, nope. So she's sitting on the printer over there because the heater is just like behind the printer. I know it's not ideal, but what can one do? So she has like heat coming up to her. T'as tellement de l'air bête. Hey, Starcasm, hi. It's watercoloring today. I don't quite know what today's gonna be about. I wanted to show this really cute card that Anya sent me. I got it quite early on, but whenever I get cards early on for either my birthday or Christmas or whatever, I always just open them on the property. But I thought it was really cute because you can pull the rope here and Senta is like happy. And then you can prop back down his limbs. And you can have him like, wee again. And I just thought that was really funny. And cute. So I got that. Oh, sorry. Qu'est-ce que tu fais, grosse patate? Salut, Scouty. Salut, petit chat. Yeah, kitties always find the warm spot, honestly. They have a sense for it. Another thing I wanted to show because I thought it was kind of appropriate. So when I was a kid, a really young kid, I had a version of this book. It was not this one. This one is quite new. And this one is like cardboard, like for really young kids. But I had the regular little golden book version of it. And it's kind of funny because it's about kittens and mixing colors. And I thought that perhaps that's where it all started. And it's a really, really cute book. And I will try to see if they have it in regular little golden book, like with regular pages, because this is kind of really bulky for what it is. But it's a really cute story about two kittens who they like to mix colors, so they have a bunch of colors and they just make a mess, and it sort of teaches you what mixing what gives what color or something. So they try to make green paint, but they make pink, like orange, purple. Also, the art is really lovely. So finally they find the green, and it's about like all the colors mixed. I think it ends up in a huge mess or something, but it's really, really cute. And I remember, I don't know if I could read at the time, and it probably was in French back then too, but I looked at it so much when I was a kid. I was like fascinated with it because like the art is really pretty and it has colors in it, and it's, I don't know. So at some point I had a kind of a flash. I was like, hey, I wonder if this book is still available, because the one I had as a kid, I think my mom sort of took it back because I think it was hers or something. Anyway, and I was like, I really miss having this in my life because it really makes me happy. And I feel like it's good inspiration for whatever. So I found it again, except that it's like for toddlers because it has the big cardboard pages. And I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. That's the perfect book for you. It is, right? I think it might be like my very first initiation to mixing colors, and I was like I remember being fascinated with it, like things like they mixed the white and the red, but it made pink, and I was like, oh, pink, okay, nice. Are they suggesting? Well, the first color they mix is pink, and yeah, I think they're suggesting RGB. No, not RGB, are red, yellow, and blue. But oddly enough, if you look at the stream of paint buckets, you have a magenta one. So I don't know what's up with that. Yeah, of course, they say out of these colors they would make all the colors in the world, but you only have like these three, and then they have a white one randomly when they mix the pink. It's a kid's book, guys, so come on. Hey, Holly. Hi, Brenda. Oh yeah, I would send it to. I will send it to you, Patricia. I just haven't gotten around to it. I kept your envelope. It's somewhere in my mess, and I will put it in an envelope and use the address and send it to you. No problem. I'm glad other people remember it too. Hey, Tsukaboo, hi. And while I was sorting through books and I found this one again, I was like, huh. I also found this one, and I just thought it was really cute. It's a Richard Scary, I don't know how you say it, but oh, it's good. Red. Just shut. And it's just like, I don't know, it's really cute, and it's really along the lines of something, I don't know how to explain it, but if you've seen like kids book these days, a lot of it is Disney stuff, and a lot of it is drawn on a computer. And not that it's a bad thing, but when you're someone who's trying to get familiar and get better at painting, it's a weird disconnect to see things that are made on the computer so much, because you're like, oh, I can't do this unless I do it on the computer. So seeing this old book that is all about, you know, it's like line work and flat colors, and I was like, oh yeah, that exists too, that's valid. Awesome. Bye, Scoot. Hey, Toki. I hope I didn't butcher that too much. Hi, Alina. Hey, Mikey. Okay, so today I was considering continuing on this task here, which is we're doing a really big bunch of swatches. I have a binder somewhere. It's a really big binder. Hey, Malvina. Hey Carolyn, hi guys. Okay, so I'll try not to touch the mic with this, but I'm basically trying to redo all of my swatches because they were so out of date. And it's a bit difficult to keep track, and I decided that I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try something a bit different. I'm gonna create a swatch for every color in a range. So these are all the Sennelier colors from the Sennelier chart, and painted in are those I've painted in yet, but like through my sets I might find other colors that I have and I can just pick up the swatch and paint it. And I did it with Schminke as well, which is definitely not filled in. I think I have what, one set in there possibly. Oh no, I have like 2 sets, but anyway. And I did Schminke and I was like, okay, the biggest one to do is definitely gonna be Daniel Smith. So that's what I'm working on. So I've got 4 pages. That's not a lot of the swatches done. But yeah, and then I will be able to go through my palettes of Daniel Smith and paint in the colors that I have either a sample or a tube of. And I think it's just going to be easier to account for adding new colors, or like I don't have to move around the swatches, because they're all there, so I can just grab the one that is unpainted and paint it. Oh no, Skaboo, that's bad. I never realized how much art supplies I had until I had to pack them. Oh my gosh, Victor. I would say the same about books. When we moved in this place quite some years ago, when we had less books than we have now, and we had something like 40 boxes of books. It's like the never-ending boxes of books. Wow. Qu'est-ce qui se passe? I don't know if it's brave or just procrastinating on other things by doing this. Not quite sure. But yeah, that's what I've been sort of doing. It's kind of weird because I know this is technically helpful, but also whenever I sit down to do it, hello chat, I always feel like am I doing this because I don't want to do something else, or am I doing this because it's really gonna have value after that? So, hold on, there's a cat somewhere. Qu'est-ce que tu fais? Ouais, mais ça passe pas. Qu'est-ce que tu fais? Done. She's silly. Oh yeah, easily 40 boxes of books. And the thing is you gotta be careful with boxes of books too, not to make them too heavy. Because we hired movers because no way we're gonna move all of that by ourselves. But even then, you don't want them to like ruin their backs by carrying super heavy boxes. So we possibly had even more books than that, because we would say half fill it with books and then put some clothes in it, so it balances out the weight. Yeah, and it was kind of smaller boxes as well. Hey Cyan, it's been a while. What did you guys get for Christmas? I got a really cool European comic book and a miniature figure of my D&D character. It's good. Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Can hear her going wow in the back somewhere. All right. Phone. Hold on. Qu'est-ce que tu fais là, toi? Tu fais là-dessous? C'est même pas bien caché, on le voit. Tu veux venir me voir? Tu veux venir voir tout le monde? Il est une grosse bébite. Ah, t'es nul. Mais non, mais tu manges pas, t'es déjà une grosse patate. Oh, t'es lourde. Comment tu peux être aussi chiante puis t'asseoir aussi tranquille? Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Gros ton. Tuna face. There you go. There you go, tuna face. You happy now? Is this what you wanted? Yeah, you want to throw everything on the floor? Of course you do. Hello, bébé. Hello, mignette. Ah, t'as trouvé un fil. Oh là là, t'as trouvé un fil. Tu vas mettre du poil dans mon thé? C'est ça ton plan? She's being a big baby. Daddy baby. She's purring. Hold on. Oh, ben oui, t'es toute contente. T'es toute contente. Ben oui. Mais t'as les fesses toutes chaudes parce que t'as les fesses contre mon thé, là. Où tu vas? Viens par ici. She's a silly butt. Oh, that's some nice gifts, Misha. No, Scout doesn't know English. Well, she doesn't know French anyway, but whatever. Ok, c'est bon. Je continue de flatter. We usually just speak to them in French, but I doubt they understand anything. It's just a matter of intonation. Actually, I have quite a lot of fun with that because I will. Oh, t'es toute belle. I will often say things like, "Oh, you're so ugly. You stink," and they don't know any better. Hey, Minette. T'es bien belle aujourd'hui. She's being really pretty today. Oh oui, contente. Oui, bien. I don't know if you guys can see her nude eyebrows from all the scratching. And you made a gash on your nose too. Ah, silly baby. T'es toute contente, hein? T'es toute contente? Ah, frotte-moi la face. It's the after Christmas tuna effect. Yeah, I call her tuna in French a lot too. Gros ton. Big tuna. I don't know why. I don't know why I associated tuna with her. Not even because of the food, I think it's just that because tunas can be really big fishes. Tu vas rendre tout plein. I don't know if you can hear the purring. It's I agree. Purrs are really a soothing sound. Tu vois? Qu'est-ce que tu fais? Tu t'installes là? Well, I don't know if I'll be able to do anything. I don't know if you guys can see, but she has taken out her stabilizers. We call that the wings, like the chicken wings. Boulette. Hey, Heather! Just in time for some cat loaf. Is it too bright? Perhaps I could... There you go. She's so soft. I wish you guys could feel the fur. She's really soft. Hey, Adam. Hi. Yeah, the shine on the Scout's coat was too bright. Her fur is too shiny. It's too nice. Oh no. That's a bummer, Elise. I hate that they do that. Wacom is a really crummy company in that regard. Their customer support is lackluster, especially back when they didn't have much competition. Now with Huion and other brands, I think it's a bit more difficult for them to ignore. Yeah, I saw that! I would have gotten a 33 pack, but I know what 30s are like, so one is enough. One temperamental tortilla is enough. Yeah, now they have competition at least. But, I mean, I don't think it has influenced their pricing at all. I've used many Wacom tablets. I think I must have started using a Wacom more than 20 years ago. I had a really tiny one. I still have it. I don't know if it works. I don't think it does, but I still have it. And I used that for a really long time. And then I got kind of a slightly more affordable, bigger one. I did not use that one a really long time because it was odd. The surface of it would really use up the nibs super fast, so that was not super convenient. And eventually I bought a small screen tablet. A Cintiq, they call it. I agree. Lee says, someday I want Heather Catlady to do a live stream so we can laugh at the Benny Hill like Chaos Live. Oh man. Yeah. The Benny Hill music is definitely fitting. Yeah, it was the small, well, the old one was a graphire, and it was like, I think the drawing surface was like 3.5 inches by 5 inches. It was really tiny. You shed so much? You shed so much, Bibi. Qu'est-ce que tu fais? Qu'est-ce que tu veux? On va pas perdre du poil. Tu veux un câlin? She wants face hugs. Ouais. Gros câlin. I'm getting so much face hugs, guys. Hey, baby. Do you have a tech graveyard corner too? I do. This week I decided to do a bit of a cleanup of it. So I backed up so many stuff from CDs back to my computer. And I will just get rid of the CDs because there's like easily 10 pounds of CDs that are not really useful anymore. And yeah, I still have my graphire. It's just behind me. If it wasn't for this kitty here, I could grab it and show you. Ah, tu veux des amis, hein? Tu veux des amis? T'as plein d'amis en ce moment. Et oui, il y a plein de gens qui t'aiment. Espèce de monstre. No, not a face hug like the one in Aliens. She basically just rubs her face on my face or her neck. Ça pique? C'est pas où aller, hein. C'est bon, je te frotte la tête. Oh là là. Yeah, I have a really old iPod. Yeah, it was the shuffle without any screen, the white one that was really long. I still have it. I have what do they call it? Sony's sort of MP3 Walkman. I have a mini disc player. Yeah, headbunks. That's the proper word for them. Tu perds tout ton poil. Ouais, tu t'en fous, hein. Je suis bête. I agree. Lee says, I've been thinking about just saving up for an iPad and go with that and Procreate, but it's so much money. I agree. I was looking at it just for the sake of having a frame of reference, and I mean, it's like pricier than a computer. And I was like, jeez, that's definitely money I don't have. I don't think Procreate is a lot of money. I think the iPad is really the problematic one, but you kind of need the Apple Pencil too if you want to use your iPad Pro as a drawing tablet. Qu'est-ce que tu fais? Tu ronronnes même plus. À quoi tu sers? What's your purpose? Your purpose? That was such a bad joke that I choked on it. Yeah, old PCs are really problematic. What I usually do when I have an old PC is I will take out the HD drive and put the rest of the computer on the sidewalk, and someone will usually grab it and do whatever they want with it. By taking the hard drive away, like all my info, all my personal stuff is technically, like, I can keep that, and it's a lot smaller than a full tower. So apparently your purpose is to purr and calm people. They definitely don't see you at your worst, do they? Peko is in the studio with me as well, but she's already settled down on a chair. Like, Peko is not being shy. Peko has her own cat schedule of things to do, and she follows it. Well, this one here, I think it's technically the moment where I put her to bed for a nap, because this one is a big fat baby and she likes to be with humans until she has settled down enough for sleep. Oh, she's definitely an agent of evil chaos. I would absolutely film Peko if I could, but she's really snuck away in a corner that is difficult to get a camera. Purpose to hold the table down and add fur to art. Yep. C'est ça ton but, hein? T'as laissé du poil partout. This is a brand new paper and now it's full of fur. Hein? Hein? Tuna face. Oh, boink. Ah, boink! Yeah, yeah. Gros bébé chat. Bas de la queue. Bing, bing, bing. Maman, arrête. Non. She's getting annoyed. Qu'est-ce que tu veux? C'est pas facile, là. Check out her paws. Her paws are really, really cute. Like, this one has a bit of a beige pattern. This one is almost fully black. This one is mottled, and this one is mottled as well, but these two are really fun. And here is a little white patch, the only white spot she has on her belly. Mom, stop! Oh, enjoyed the haircut, Victor. That always feels so freeing. Paint making question. How do you keep your paint from molding? They shouldn't mold if you use honey in them. That was a really good flop. She's getting annoyed and angry, so she might bite me. Because she's a tortilla after all. No, it's a flop. It's definitely a flop. Ah, my face is itchy because of all the fine fur. You have really fine fur and it's really itchy. You know that. I don't know what I will do today. For now, there's a big cat on... No, you don't steal my chair. I don't have any other chair. You don't get to steal this one. That's my chair. Non, non, vole-moi pas ma chaise. Is your paint molding, Tsukabu? Qu'est-ce que tu veux? Qu'est-ce que tu veux? Comment est-ce que je peux pas tenter une place pour que tu sois ici avec moi? Tu me fasses pas trop chier. Grab this one. No, you don't get to steal my chair. Don't. That's my chair. You get to steal the other one. Come with me. No. Okay. Whew. So much fur. She's settling down. Good. I gave her a really nice soft blanket and she's like, ooh, what is this new blanket? Like, good. Maybe you didn't use enough honey. I've never really had... I think once I had... Let me set everything back up. After Tornado Scout. Okay. This is somewhat fine. Not the paint, no, the paint in the pans will technically dry. But in the jars where I put the extra paint, it was growing legs and stuff. Ooh, jeez. His daughter's pink toxic, I just drank some. If you drank paint water, I think you're gonna be fine. There's not enough... Unless you like ate a full tube of it straight. That might be a source of concern, but if you just drank a bit of paint water, you should be fine. Have you ever been to Musée Pointe-à-Caya? I've been, yeah. Hey Jill, hi. Okay, so I keep my paint in jars as well, and I've never really had problem with mold. I think once there was a tiny bit of it, and I just scooped it up and it checked everything, and it was fine. But usually I don't have that issue. Maybe your jar had some kind of contaminant in it. Do you live in a Huntsic? I live somewhat near a Huntsic. Why? I live in Montreal. Hey, Lindy, hi. Hey, Stanislav, by the way, I didn't say hi. I take it that you're from Montreal, SK Racing. SK. Whew. Morty. Okay, that's a lot of swear words. Some good old French-Canadian swear words. So basically deformed religion words. I think if you are curious about paint toxicity, the Spin Doctor, he's made a lot of videos, and there's one of them that I really enjoy, where he addresses the toxicity of paint and puts it in sort of a context. Like even the toxic pigments, like cadmiums and all of that, to have some effect from it. Like you either need to eat a lot of it, or be susceptible to it, or be really small. You know, so the proportion of the particles in your person are, you know, like more, there's more toxic pigment in relationship to your size. Something like that. That was really hard to say for some reason. So yeah. So yeah, this video is kind of interesting because I think that Spin Doctor has sort of a knowledge background in chemistry. Possibly. Hold on. Oh yeah, I can just grab this. Haha, this is so cool. Okay. I think it's the one, yes. How toxic are watercolor paints really? Do I need to worry much about this? Yeah, that's the one. Except that now I lost my chat. Bummer. Jeeps. Jeeps. just give me a sec. I messed it all up. Also, just to be... just gonna hide this and this because that's a bit too precise. There you go. Hold on, I'm just getting a chat back where I can read it. Okay, good. Oh my gosh, come on. Where are you, stupid cursor? This is why I paint. Screw you, technology. Face reveal. Oh, I don't really need to do a face reveal. You've seen my face before. It's not in super great shape at the moment, so I don't really feel like bothering you with it. I love paints that smell. I hope they smell good though. Can't wait to buy this scented Daniel Smith paint. Are they making a new selection of scented paints? I think it's a bit problematic because some people have really strong sensibilities. Oh, that's okay, Heather. If you have to leave, you have to leave. Though we will appreciate every moment with us, with you, with us in the chat. Alright. So, I know this is not super exciting, but I will continue making swatches. I don't think I'm gonna stream for a very long time today because I've got kind of a lot of cleaning to do and I'm not very far along it, and I just wanted to check up with you guys, see how you guys are doing and how everything has been. Painting on an eraser, is that crazy? Not necessarily, but I don't know how long it will last. If they are, I for one won't be reviewing it. I can guarantee. Yeah, the scents, one of them was like candy cane, so mint, so that's a big no for you. I think the other one was like evergreen, so again, not auto-friendly one bit. And the last one they had was hot mulled cider, so probably something like cinnamon. Yeah, I need to do a lot more cards, but should I do more cards or try and swatch some paints? Thing is that if I swatch paints, I don't have a lot of room to dry the... Okay, whatever. I'm just gonna do whatever, and if you guys are not super into it, you can go do something else. That's perfectly fine. The wall is open and there has been rodent activity through a hole that will also be fixed. It is of great interest to the kitties. Yeah, at least you're covered on that front. You have a good team of mousers. What? Your mom made red velvet cake and you gave her a paint instead of food coloring? That's weird. Why would you give her... What would you give her a paint instead of food coloring? We can have a long passionate debate about cakes and whatnot. I made my first Christmas log and it was fine. Though the recipe, like the recipe for the sponge cake is one thing and the recipe for the icing is another one. And it sort of makes a lot of icing for the amount of cake that it makes. Oh, hold on. The cat is gone. Grab it quickly. Of course you're stuck in all the cables in there. Why wouldn't you? So, just quickly, this was my very old tablet. I don't know if it still works. It has a USB plug. So there's a chance it could work. But it's also very old. I think I got that like when I finished high school. So yeah. I used that for quite some time. There's that. There's this. Oh, and the binder. Heather has a small army of monsters. Yeah. It was, the tablet was from the era of the, if you guys remember the colored iMacs, that were like, everything was included, like the screen and the computer and everything was in there. And they had plenty of colors of them. It's from the same era. Okay, so I was at Prussian blue for this. It still works! Really? Oh well, I'm gonna hold on to it. It's not like it takes a lot of place. I'm still working on my paint, 17 color now. Wow. Any mouse that enters here is not long for this world. Oh, that's kind of sad, but so very true. So very true. Okay, let's get to it. So basically I hand stamped, should I say, and hand cut a bunch of these. They're really hand stamped because they're not super consistent in terms of placement. And it was a really long process because the basic squares and all that is one stamp, and the black patch is another stamp that I have to stamp twice. So yeah, so that was a lot of work, and I will see about possibly investing in a stamp position tool. Like it's this thing where you place your stamps and you place the papers and it always stamps on at the same place, so you can put everything on register and have a bit more consistency and also print or stamp stuff a lot faster. Dude, Stanislav, you gotta stop talking about eating paints. That's not a good thing to advocate. Like, it's not toxic necessarily, but it's probably not very tasty either, and I wouldn't recommend eating it. Mice are cute in cages. Running up inside your pants legs while sitting at your computer is another situation. Has that happened? Hey, Joy! Mr. Man, the cat, keeps catching things and being so proud about showing the catch off. It suddenly gets its oomph back and escapes. He gets so downhearted. Oh, he's a soft boy! Because he's not killing them. So basically what I'm doing with these swatches is I'm writing the brand, or I try to. I keep correction tape handy and also a white gel pen for small corrections. And I write in the brand, the name, so I was at Prussian blue, which is over here, so next one is cerulean blue. Write the name under here. And then the pigment. And also in the corner here, that's why I have two charts open, is because this one is the more accurate one, the more recent one. This one is an older one. It has like lapis lazuli smalt, like colors that are no longer carried. But this one has the number of the color, which I find kind of useful to have, so that's why I want to include it here. So cerulean blue is color 206. So yeah, that's a lot of work, but I think it could be really useful. My cats have 0 kills on there. They don't even kill bugs anymore. Well, maybe they destroyed the poor Scutigera upapin, and Peko will eat all the silverfish she can see. She really enjoys eating them, but everything else is like, they give a couple of paws on it and then the cats are like, meh, not super interesting. So this kind of stuff is really zen. There you go. It's repetitive and it might be a bit lackluster to watch, but in terms of doing, it's kind of like I often put videos on, and it's suited well to my really low level of energy. I don't know why. Like, I have the most chill holidays ever, but I'm still so tired. The puppies, I've already killed a mouse. Whoa. Precocious puppies. My cats have been in love with, I had to give them one of my hairbands. They're like this really like basic sport headband. Not that I'm any kind of sport people. Not sporty at all, but these are handy, and they're basically big elastics, and they are fascinated with one. So I gave them one. It's all chewed up and frayed now, but it's been their favorite toy for a couple of weeks, which is kind of funny. Okay. Blue chromium, manganese blue hue. I'm thinking about the, you know, I mentioned that I will do another video of swatching on manganese blue, and I got a few more things out to swatch along with the mixes I made in the first video. I got a tube of the manganese blue mixture from Da Vinci, which contains a bit of the actual manganese blue pigment, and I dug out the hues I have. I probably have one from Holbein as well, but the Daniel Smith one and the Winsor Newton one. Hey Mallory, hi! Oh my gosh, Heather! Silverfish creamy with a pleasant crunch. Yuck. Not for me, but I mean, I'm all for Peko eating them. Go right ahead, kitty. Oh, you have a feral cat living in your crawl space. Aww. Again, I think the most tedious part of this is having to write the brand every single time. Couple to blue, color number, and when I have 4 swatches sort of written down, I fill in one of these just so I don't lose track of sort of the order in which they go. And yeah. And those are sheets for coins. They're basically sheets with 20 pockets that are 2 inches by 2 inches. I got that from Jennifer Maguire. think that's her name. She does a lot of handmade cards on YouTube. She has this incredibly huge setup, which is like her studio space, like her crafting space is mind-blowing. First of all, it's like a great big room just for that, and I think she gets a lot of storage custom made. So she has a lot of these, you know, flat files and places to sort stuff and shelves to fit in ink pads very precisely, and she's super organized. And everything is always like so pristinely stored away. Like, oh, that's not my studio space for sure. Perhaps if I had a bit more area, like a bit more room to spread out, it would look better, but yikes. And yeah, she had sorted out her ink colors on swatches like that. And I was like, well, I don't really have a lot of ink pads, but I could definitely use this in terms of paint references. So which one is that? Phthalo turquoise. And I did the swatches basically just squares, and hold on, I will grab some of it. It's really hard to write and talk at the same time. I'm gonna end up writing nonsense on my cards. T'as fondu, t'es toute molle. So that was my previous swatches. And the thing that bothered me with those is the fact that this is cellulose paper. So it's kind of annoying. And yeah, so I figured that, and then also the company that is named Waffle Flower came out with specific clear stamps for swatching and all of that, like this design. And it's quite, you know, it's nice, it's convenient, you don't have to handwrite all this stuff. You still have to end up writing stuff anyway, but I don't have to, you know, set up the margin, the black line. And yeah, this was kind of a pain in the butt too, because since the paint goes from one edge to the other one, you kind of need to have some spare surface to let it like flow out, and then you need some space to dry it, and it's gonna stain it, so sorry. Heather says, how to find bugs in my house. Look for cat butt donut. Bug will be in the middle at the nose end. The cat butt donut is it's basically when you have all the cats like face like that and a butt that way. And you have another one. And you have another one. So you have like this round of cat butts, and you have a bug in the middle, so it's a cat butt donut. I only have 2 cats, so I can't really enjoy the actual cat butt donut, but I can imagine it. Hey, Destiny, hi! Oh, that's really nice, Amisha. I hope the cat will. Otto's organization skills are impressive, I completely agree. And there's another thing that I'm really impressed, is that Otto is able to declutter efficiently. Like, I've spoken about stuff like with her more than once, and I'm like, I have to get rid of this stuff, and it stresses me out, and I don't know if I will need it or not. And she's like, it's just a thing. Like, you're right. Like, don't focus on the possible regret of it. Just, you need it, you don't need it. I'm not super good at decluttering, obviously. Working on it, but yeah. Well, I'm glad that you love decluttering. But I'm just like, sometimes I go to declutter and I'm like, well, there's nothing here that I sort of want to get rid of for real. Like, it's just difficult to do this distinction of what do I keep and what don't I keep. Like, I got rid of, I have a lot of paints, as you guys probably can figure out by now. So I was like, oh, there's some paints that I don't really use, so I will see if I can either like sell them like really not expensively and sort of create more space. But then like years later I'm like, oh well, I would need this paint again, so well, I'm gonna buy it again. So it's kind of weird because I'm not good at separating what kind of stuff I could possibly need again to the stuff that I can safely get rid of. Safely in the sense that I won't sort of wake up a week later and go like, oh no, I need this thing now. And like when Otto shows her storage for all her shipping supplies and all of that, I'm like, oh, this is so nice. Do I have Winsor Newton Pro and then 3 in blue? Probably not. The stamp is on Amazon Canada. Oh, interesting. It's on the Waffle Flower website as well, and Simon Says Stamp, which is a crafting stamp website, has them too. Hey Mark, hi! Rainy North Texas. Oh, it's a mulling day today. Ooh, what are you mulling? Oh, wow. I'm super impressed. Otto says, on the whole, if I haven't used it in a year or two, then they go. If they make me feel guilty that I haven't used them when I feel I should have, then it goes, because holding on to them is causing me bad emotional health. Yeah, you are brutal. You are definitely not... hold on, I'm trying to find a proper English way of saying this, because I only have a French expression on mine. But you really don't hesitate. Sap Green Genuine right now from Buckthorn Berry Lake. Ooh, that's really awesome. Dude, genuine sap green, that's really interesting. Because sap green is a color that varies so much from one brand to another. But I think no one has an actual idea of what's the color of sap green. Might have an inkling, but I have no idea which kind of green it is supposed to be. I wonder if it does the thing like Lapis Lazuli does, like you see this beautiful swatch by Daniel Smith and you're like, oh, this blue is amazing, and then you get the paint and it's not at all like that. So I wonder if sap green is like, you see all these greens that we associate with sap green and the actual thing is a really different color. Oh yeah, moving is hard. I don't know about you guys, but whenever there's one has to move, like you start off with a lot of good intentions and patience, and you're like, I'm gonna sort things out as I pack boxes, and it's gonna be super organized boxes. And the more boxes you do, the less organized and the less stuff you throw away. You just toss everything into boxes and call it a day. So your sap green is pretty olive greenish. Oh, that sounds lovely. A lot of things spark no joy, but pens are compulsory anyway. Yeah, that's the funny thing. Like I freaking hate our current toaster. I hate it. We had a really old one that was really awesome, but yeah, eventually one of the wires in it stopped working or something. but it was so awesome. It was old, like from the 70s and 80s. It was like cream with fake wood, you know, the wood applique something. And it worked really well. It worked for like, what, 40 years easily? And I was like, yeah, that's, but yeah. And then we had to buy a new one, and toasters today are like super, way too complicated for nothing. Like, I just want something you can put 2 slices of bread in it and toast it. The end. Not something with like 4 slices and settings for bagel and thawing and all of that. I'm like, I don't care. And we got one, and I really hate it. It sucks. It's really bad. Like, it doesn't click well. You know, when you press down the thingy to lower the toast and start it, the old one we had, like, you lower the thing and it goes click when you reach the bottom of it, and the new one, it doesn't click. And sometimes, like, you lower it, it doesn't click, but it stays lower, and you have no idea that your bread is not toasting. And 10 minutes later you're like, how come my bread is not out yet? And it's because it's a stupid freaking toaster that I hate. Freaking hate toasters. I had a good one. I miss it. PG-19. Huh, do I have that one? Dude, I don't think I have that one. Why are cobalts so expensive? Oh, no, you don't do that, computer. Moving is one of the top 3 stressors that can happen to you in a year. It is super stressful. Freaking hate moving. Tsakabu says, I found I can do the waffle flower stamps without an ink pad if the pen ink is waterproof and it's a brush pen. It's interesting. But an ink pad is also really easy to use. You basically go and there you go. Well, with a brush pen, I guess you have to draw in the thingy. If you don't have a lot of swatches to do, that's fine. But if you have 600 swatches to do, a stamp is kind of nice. That's a fun thing of doing the whole range in swatches as well, is that I realized that there are some pigments that I haven't heard a lot about, like that PG-19 one. And it sort of makes me realize which paints I have a lot of versions of, or which paints I have less versions of. Or like if a specific company has a specific pigment or not. Or I think that for colors like cobalt teal, there are 2 pigments that are mostly used for it. And it really depends. Some company will use PG50, and I think some other companies will use a different pigment. And Misha says, someday I want to get paint making supplies so I can make an orange ochre from the clay from my child. Oh, that's awesome! That would be really cool. Hey, Rhonda! Project art supplies becomes a joy when I take an annual donation of supplies to a local place that does... Yeah, that's also great. Oh my gosh, free art therapy with grieving children. Oh, that's so nice. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, whenever I declutter art supplies, I see if there are things I can give. I would give a lot more through mail, like send it to people, but it's so expensive to ship things out that... Ugh. But I gave a bunch to my friend, local friend, who does a lot of work with children as well. Oh, hey, Mark. This is not very a very complex live stream. It's gonna be a really simple one today. So I'm basically just filling in the info on these swatches from Daniel Smith range, because what I'm doing is I'm setting up swatches of the whole range, that I can put in a binder, and then I can easily grab a swatch and add the color to it when I get the chance. Because that's the thing with having a huge swatch collection, is that if you don't keep it up to date, it's really daunting to try and figure out what you have swatched, what you haven't swatched. And that was where I was at, and I was really bothered with it because it's a useful tool, but it's not useful if it's not up to date, or up to date-ish. So I figured that I would try a different approach, and I would make swatches, like blank swatches for all the colors. And then when I get the chance, say I'm swatching a new set, and there are some colors that I haven't swatched out yet, well, I can swatch the cards at the same time I'm doing the swatch for the set anyway. So it's sort of, I can implement it better into my process rather than having it be a whole separate thing. I don't know if that makes sense. It's I still make myself laugh when I see like phthalo green BS. Oh yeah, that's stupid stuff. I can't face redoing my swatches. Oh, I know what you mean, Otto. Jeez. Hey, Stephen. Yeah, and there are odd things also to notice with ink pads. Welcome to the most disjointed thingy ever. Well, you guys are used to it, so I'm not super stressed about that. So, I've swatched a couple of brands, as you can see. And there are sometimes weird things that happens with certain brands and certain colors. Like, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but sometimes the paint sort of gets repelled by the ink from the swatch, even if the swatch has dried for like a couple of days. Like, there is kind of a hollow that gets created when the paint dries on the swatch. Doesn't really do it with all the colors, but it does it with some, so that's something to be mindful of, possibly. So far, I've only seen it happen with Schminke. Renaissance did it a bit too. So I swatched all the Renaissance ones. So I don't know if you can see. It's difficult to get it on screen, and there's a big glare. But like, there is this kind of hollow halo around the inked part of it. Doesn't affect the ability to see what the color is like, but it's kind of weird. So yeah, I did Renaissance. I did, I have yet to do Core. I only swatched the colors I have. All the Primatech are swatched already. So I'm working on everything else. Daniel Smith is not... It's like, to me it's a bit on the same level as Winsor & Newton, in the sense that it's a reliable professional paint that is easy to find. But I'm not super, like... They have unique colors that are interesting, but I don't have any palettes from them that is set up so I can use it regularly, so I don't often reach for them. It's a very complete range, so it's a good way to sort of get a good reference of all the pigments, but yeah, I'm no longer in love with them, especially because the price has hiked so much. Like a couple of years ago it was 12 Canadian dollars for a Series 1 tube, and now it's like $15, $16, something like that. That's way too much of an increase. Oh, thank you so much, Heather. Oh, that's because those are swatches I've already painted. And I want to paint them twice. Like, I don't want to set it up twice. So whenever I get to a pink slip, well, it means that it's a color I have in here and I can just grab the swatch from this little pile here. So I was at phthalo green BS. I thought I had a Cascade green swatch, but I guess I don't. Oh, it's undersea green, okay. missing one though. Oh, it's here. There you go. So, Cascade Green. Yeah, I agree. Tsukaba says Daniel Smith has a ton of colors, but I think maybe they're trying to do too much and hiking up prices too freaking high. It is a bit disheartening. It used to be like a brand I was super happy about because it was accessible. You would pay $12 for Series 1. I don't know what Series 4 was then, but you know, it's a good basic price to start at $12 for 15 milliliter of paint. But yeah, the price hike is not super great, and also I don't find them to be super consistent in terms of the way the paint dries. Because one of the fun features of watercolor is that you can set it up in a palette, and if you don't use up all the paint, you can let it dry there. It's not gonna go bad, it's just gonna dry and you can use it again, which is nice. But Daniel Smith doesn't dry well. It tends to dry hard and get unstuck from the palette. So if you move your palette, because it's a travel palette, chances are you're gonna have like flecks of all the paints mixed in with the other paints. Like it's not ideal. Their ultramarine is dry really hard, and it's really annoying. I really don't enjoy it. So that's why I use a lot of Schmincke, because you cannot really get a surprise from Schmincke. It's super consistent. Renaissance's most expensive series costs about $3 US. Well, if you are in Poland, probably, because considering the import fees, well, I have a lot of cards around, but yeah, if you consider the import fees and all of that, it's probably a bit more like $6 for a tube, which is still the least expensive one. Or one of the least expensive ones you can find in North America. It's same thing for like Holbein. Holbein is really cheap in Japan, but a lot more expensive because they have to import it, and it hikes up the prices. Oh wow, that's going to be a lot of pigments to fit in on small space. Okie dokie. Yeah, I'm predictable like that. Daniel Smith's ultramarine is really less worse off than their stupid French ultramarine. I followed Theo Yichi's selection of colors when I started to get back into watercolor, and he has French ultramarine from Daniel Smith and Italian burnt sienna also from Daniel Smith, and I hate both these colors. They dry like rocks. I hate them so much, and it put me off ultramarine for so long. I was like, stupid freaking pigment that's super hard, not fun to use, and bothering me. And then I tried like other brands, and I was like, oh, ultramarine doesn't have to be terrible. It can be quite good, actually. I really like Schmincke's ultramarine, and and M. Graham also. That's super nice, super easy to re-wet, but yeah. Otto says 2019 was the year I got to know Schminke, and I am so much better for it. I love Daniel Smith, but Schminke is currently my favorite brand. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you converted. Schminke's Ultramarine Finest is the best commercially available ultramarine. Yep, I agree. It is super reliable, and it's nice, and it's like a nice color. Oh, but yeah, I was so fed up with Daniel Smith's Ultramarine and Burnt Sienna for a really long time until I tried. I think we shared pans, me and Otto sent me Burnt Sienna from Daniel Smith in a pan, and I was like, oh, it is much more easy to wet and much nicer than the Italian one. And that's a great gift, Destiny. I hope you'll enjoy it. Hey, that's right, Mark. How are all the cats? Otto says, I'm a born-again schminkest. That's hilarious. The thing is that I think that at that rate, Daniel Smith is probably gonna have to reduce their range at some point. Because if you produce 250 colors or so, you cannot put the same care into making all of them as if you produce a much smaller range, I guess. I figure this is my my opinion of it, I guess. Well, I'm trying to... I will finish this card before I look at the chat again, so I don't get distracted too much. I am so distracted. Okay. Mark says, got distracted by cats. Did you say Schminke rates higher than Daniel Smith? How does M. Graham compare with Schminke? Two of my favorite brands are Schminke and M. Graham. I really love M. Graham for the intense brightness of the colors. If you want paints that you almost get too much pigment and you don't know what to do with that level of pigmentation, M. Graham is the one for you. It's just mind-blowing how intense the colors are. And you try to pick up just a tiny bit of it and it's already too much pigment and you're like, whoa, what? So it's just amazing in terms of pigment load. I don't use them as much because my palette is huge and my space is small. Kind of due to this setting, I had to use a lot of smaller palettes and I use Schminke a lot, and I realized that Schminke colors are super reliable. They all re-wet at similarly the same level. Like, you don't, there's not one you have to wait 5 minutes before using it. You can wet it, and if it's not like intense enough, you just wait a couple of seconds and then you go at it again and it's gonna be super nice intense color. And they have a nice range too. Like, they offer a lot of choice without going overboard too much. Like, it's not overwhelming. And also they are super creative in terms of what they put out in the sets and the colors and the selection and the bundles. Like, it's always something new, something interesting, something exciting that will get you like to want more paint. They do their marketing really well. I mean, you look at the sets and you're like, oh my gosh, I want this one. I want to paint with this one. It's so nice. Even if you have like already a bunch of sets and you don't really need any more. I also really love Renaissance. They are really nice colors and really affordable, which is really, really nice. And what else? I gave away one kitten. Oh! Still have 4 more here. Are you planning to keep some of them, or are you planning to put them all up for adoption. Yeah, when you're a millionaire, you can buy all the colors from Schminke. If you want to buy colors for from Schminke, sorry, as far as I know, unless you see a specific sale somewhere in the US or something like that, Jackson's is the place where you can get the best price for them. Yeah, if it dries hard as a rock, Tsukabu, chances are it's not gonna re-wet easily. Because usually when colors dry hard as a rock, that's because they have a lot of gum arabic in them. And if they have too much gum arabic, that's when it becomes hard to re-wet. Keeping at least 2. Aww. Yay! Keep all the kittens. I know, it's never realistic to keep all the kittens, but... One is traveling to Africa with us next month. What? What's the context of this? That's pretty unique. Otto said that Otto says that she does love Daniel Smith's special colors like the Primatech range. I agree that these are really, really nice. They're pretty unique and really interesting colors, especially for the greens, because greens, I don't know why, but I have this feeling that a lot of green colors in paint ranges are kind of not exciting. I don't know why. I don't think there's a lot of single pigments that are green, so it's necessarily mixes, and I always find something odd with the mixes. I'm not bothered, you guys know I'm not bothered by the fact that there's multiple pigments, but it's just this, I think maybe it focuses a lot on colors that are fun but that are not very realistic. So I don't know, there's something here that I haven't quite figured out. Schminke sets are on sale right now on Jackson's. Ah, that's dangerous. I think I saw the sale and I looked at the sets and I was like, setting aside the really big ones, but all the smaller ones, I was like, I think I have them all. There was a moment of realization, and then I was like, yeah, okay, I get it. I get the message, brain. That's good. I've been working on many reviews of various sets, including a bunch of Schminke ones, but I get stuck. I bottleneck at the same place every single time when I work on a video, is that I don't have much ideas for the demo paintings at this moment. Like, I don't come up with drawing ideas that I can paint to demo the paint in the video. So I have filmed a lot of swatching, I have filmed a lot of things, but I'm stuck. Like, I don't know what to draw. Our family does linguistic and development work in West Africa. Oh, wow. But Mark, where are you bringing a kitten? Oh my gosh, I keep picturing a really small cat. That's the adventure of a lifetime. And I'm not even sure they are aware of it, because, let's face it, it's just a cat, you know? Oh, good grief. There are so many pigments to note here, and my space for pigments is so small. Can I send you a reference for a pirate cat? My friend's cat is a pirate. Yeah, sure. You can put it on Discord if you want. The upstairs neighbor is on the phone. You can probably hear some of it. It's kind of funny. Like, I have no idea what they're saying, but it's like I can hear people talking super expressively, so that's kind of funny. I'm glad if the background noise doesn't come up too much, because here it's pretty like loud. It always makes me laugh also because it kind of sounds like the adults in the Charlie Brown cartoons. So I always have a bit of like a laugh at it because I'm like, this is kind of silly. Okay, a redacted color, chromium oxide green. Whee! This is exciting. Yeah. Love it. This is one of my favorite greens because it looks so natural. I know it's got a bad rap. What is it? Like, I think Lindsay the Frugal Crafter calls it... Is that the one she calls baby poop green? Because if any baby poops in this color, I would possibly be worried or inquire if they've eaten like way too much spinach. Because that's not brown green, that's definitely green. All right. Terre Verte is the next one. I wonder what they called it, like Terre Verte. Do they have a green earth too? They have rare green earth. They could have just called it like green earth instead of having it be Terre Verte, and no one... Everybody struggles with this stupid name they gave it. Half pan set. Oh, wow. Green gold poop. That brings us back to, you know, describing things with their pigment number. Oh, the baby has, what, PY129 poop? Speaking of babies, I learned that I'm gonna be an aunt. And it's a bit terrifying. Just a tiny bit terrifying. Yeah, it kind of breaks my brain, the Terre Verte one, because I want to say it Terre Verte so that you guys can sort of possibly make more sense of what I'm saying, but my brain is like, that's Terre Verte, and it sort of just doesn't want to. Sap green is much closer to baby poop green. Well, I don't know if it's exciting for me. I mean, it's not gonna change much anything for me, but it's kind of weird to think about the realities of it. Like, my brother is gonna have a kid. And it's like, what? But my brother is a kid, but he's not. But, you know, he's my younger brother, so there's kind of this leftover perception of him as a kid. But he's no longer a kid. Jesus, it's been a while since he's been a kid. And I'm just not good with kids in general, so that's why it's terrifying. Oh yeah, that's true. Amisha says, in the Society for Creative Anachronism, they refer to a particular shade of green as goose turd green because that's the exact shade it is. It's the same in French. It is called cacadois in French, which is basically goose turd green. And I always thought that was kind of hilarious because you would get like really fancy clothing and the color on the tag is like cacadois and you're like... This is silly. Being an aunt means you can wash your hands of all responsibility. Yeah, I know, exactly. If I wanted responsibility of a kid, I would get one of my own. But that's the thing, I don't have one, and I don't know what to expect, or what people are gonna expect of me. Which is weird. Chicken poop brown, live leaf green. African locust bean yellow? What? Sorry, it's different with kids who grow up with you because you're just part of their furniture. Oh, that's interesting. Mark says in the local language they only have actual names for white, black, red, and a borrowed name for blue. Bilu. That's really interesting. The funny thing with the goose color is that they called it that because it's the exact color of the thing, but who has seen goose poop? Like, who will see that color on a coat and think like, oh, it's the same as goose poop? No one. Or very few people. So they could have called it something else, like, I don't know, like grayish brown or whatever, you know. But no, they called it that specific name, and it's just, it doesn't relate to anything for a lot of us. It's insanely specific, but without the proper reference, you kind of lose the... Or that's how you learn what color is goose poop. Just in time for goose poop talk. Welcome back, Heather. This is kind of... I mean, nothing meant by that other than this is kind of your type of topics. Everyone in the northern half of the USA thanks to Canadian geese. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm in Canada, and I only saw actual goose poop like I think last spring, because there's a park not too far away, and I happened to take a walk there one day, and there were goose, and I saw the grass, and I was like, oh, I see. But yeah. We have a park with hundreds of geese. Everyone knows that color. They have... Ah! Dirk! Well, I had never seen that color before, so... who knows? don't think it's a pigment, it's poop. That's awesome. Mark says that most color in our local West African language are just the color of something. Well, it makes sense. It really makes sense. I think that's a very appropriate way to describe colors, because at least it makes sense and it's easy to understand. Like if you say something is the color of this plant, of this flower, and most people have seen the thing, well, they know right away what you mean. How many colors? That's peculiar. This older chart has 4 pigments for olive green, and the newer one I have has only 3 of them. Either that or they made a mistake making the chart, but if I encounter a situation where a pigment change or an information change, I'm just going to use correction tape and fix it that way. Of course, many of our colors are the names of things too. Yeah, exactly. Orange, rose, violet. But like when you say something like green, that's not a reference to anything. Or yellow. Or blue. Or purple. Oh, that's an emergency, Heather. How many, or feel free not to answer if you don't want to, Heather, but how do you manage the litter box situation? Like how many boxes do you keep on rotation? If you want to discuss this. Green gold, the color that shouldn't be named that, because it is not the usual green gold pigment. And instead they have another green gold somewhere, rich green gold. That is the pigment we associate with green gold. So they really should have switched those two. It's really stupid that they did not. Now it's the other one, rich green gold. So what's your guys' favorite holiday movies? Or movie? Is there one you sort of have a tradition of watching every single holiday? Or every single year? Oh no, it's my fault. I'm sorry. Poor kitty without litter. I interrupted the process. I used to watch Love Actually, but I got really fed up with it. Watched it a couple of times and then I was like, you know what? There's way too many situations in there that bother me. Red 2. I don't think I've seen it, huh? Have a dedicated room for litter. Well, that's a really clever idea because it puts all in the same place, like all you need to clean, refill, and if you have to clean up a room or clean up the litter area, it's this space, so you don't have to, you know, do many different areas. Tsukebo says, I always have a soft spot for Jim Carrey's How the Grinch Stole Christmas and Home Alone. Adam says, Pan's Labyrinth. Mallory says, I watch Christmas Vacation. Tsukebo adds, plus the ancient Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer with Burl Ives. Misha says, it's a Christmas story here. This year we even made leg lamp cookies. And also the wrapping paper. Sorry. That's the only thing I've seen of that movie. It's the stupid leg lamp, and I don't know why, but I think it's really funny. Trying to think if there's a movie I kind of watch every year. I don't think I have one. Daniel Smith could really remove all the well, most of the location-based paints from their range, like Verona Gold Ochre, stupid Italian Burnt Sienna, French Ultramarine. There's an Italian Venetian Red. That's like 2 places. Pompeii Red. You don't need all of those, I figure. I hope that if they end up cutting off colors, it's going to be perhaps possibly some of these first. Everybody's going to come up to me and say, I love this color. There's a French ochre. Why do you need French ochre and burgundy yellow ochre and then yellow ochre and then Mars yellow? Are they all the same pigment? Well, 3 of them are the natural version of the pigment and 1 is the synthetic version of the pigment. Miracle on 34th Street. So the Italian Venetian Red is awful. Why do they have it though? Very weak. Oh, I hate those stupid colors. Who needs a weak Venetian Red? No one. No one needs a weak Venetian Red. No one needs weak watercolor. I mean, it's bad enough with poor green earth that is super weak. It's a lovely green, but it is super duper weak. Hey, Eliza! Hi! Muppet Xmas Carol. Oh, that's nice. Klaus. I haven't watched Klaus yet. I really should, but I'm really old grumpy curmudgeon when it comes to movies. It's like, you know, the same way people would go like, oh, you haven't seen Citizen Kane, you really should. And I'm like, yeah, but no. Like, I understand the place of that movie in the history of movies. But there's no life bucket list that says that everyone has to watch it. Like, I recognize that it's an important movie and all of that, but it doesn't mean it appeals to me anyway. I don't really want to watch it. Is that really a bad thing? All their colors look really strong on their pigment freaking chart. Where is it? Where is the rare green earth? This one doesn't look like that one bit when you paint it. Oh, thank you so much for being here, Joy. Charlie Brown Christmas. Oh, that's nice. It's a Wonderful Life. Yeah, the Italian Venetian Red. It's like, oh, look at this beautiful color. And you're like, oh, this is a beautiful color. I want to try it. And you buy it and it's a dud. And same with the stupid Italian burnt sienna. Where is it? Where is it? I hate you. Stupid color. I mean, the color is lovely. The paint itself is a pain in the butt to use. It's not on this old chart, I think. Burnt sienna light. Can you please go away? Sorry. I'm like, why? Who needs a burnt sienna light? What's going on? I'm losing it. The old Miracle on 34th Street in black and white, where they dumped the mail on the judge's desk. Or the other one with the dollar. I don't know. We used to have a feature here in Quebec when I was a kid. I don't know if it's still there because I don't really watch. I don't actually have cable or whatnot. But it was called Ciné Cadeau. So cadeau is gift. And ciné refers to cinema. And I think like every day during the holiday season, they would have like a kids movie that would play at a certain hour. Like on one day it would be an Asterix movie, or a Lucky Luke movie, or you know, something like that, something like an animated show. And that's possibly the most Christmassy thing I can remember in terms of Christmas tradition, is watching the movies from Ciné Cadeau. But aside from that, there were some pretty terrifying movies when you think back on it, like some really, really sad stuff. Oh jeez, I forgot one. It is available outside of the set now. The burnt sienna light and raw sienna light. French ochre, burgundy. Those earth colors from specific sources, useful for conservationists but not for artists, just clutter. I agree, Lindy. Hey! Shout to Joy! Another Joy, hi! Lurker popping in. Sometimes I feel like Daniel Smith just loves being the brand with the most color available. So they keep all the wonky ones in production. I agree. It's really the feeling I get from it too. They made a big fuss about introducing new colors a couple of years ago, and I mean, it's a nice addition, I guess, but it's not anything that wasn't attainable from the range that they already have, you know. So I'm like, I am not sure where they plan on taking this. I'm annoyed at the transparent yellow ochres and transparent burnt sienna, because more often than not the colors are quite weak. And transparent yellow ochre from Schmincke is super sad. It is so weak. I don't have that one. Oh well. It is really, really weak. But yeah, and that's kind of sad, because what is pretty cool of yellow ochre is that it's a really pigment loaded color. Yeah, it's a bit opaque, but opaque colors get such a bad rep. First of all, they are never that opaque. I mean, come on, this is watercolor. Even the most opaque pigment are like semi-opaque at best, if you consider it. And you're gonna use it with water anyway. So it's gonna be more transparent. You got a Lucky Luke book. That's so cool. The art in those books is just amazing. Honestly, the cartoonist that used to draw them, and I think now it's a new guy that draws them, but he really does a great job with the style. And the colors in those books the usage of color is really, really interesting. A lot of panels have like one color for the background, like a red, and all the characters are one flat color, like pink. And you don't see a lot of books, of European comic books, that have this kind of treatment. Okay, so another color that I already have swatched, Mars Yellow. Come on screen. Welcome back. The BS light. Sorry. Oh, we have to add 5 new colors this year. Well, we can throw white in the mix and call it periwinkle and wisteria. It's lavender. I really love yellow ochre as well. I think it's the yellow I use the most. You got a Cowboy in Paris. Oh, I have to look it up. Oh, but they are really lovely books. Really love them. We have a few, I think. And like, since me and Mr. E are technically both artists, we get a lot of books just because they look nice. So I think that's something we might need to put on the long-term list, is to acquire more Lucky Luke. The thing is that growing up here, when you are a kid and you have access to a public library, these are the comic books that you can easily rent out. So you kind of always have access to them. But as you grow older and you sort of start going a lot less to public libraries, you kind of lose this availability, or this possibility to look at those things, and I kind of miss it. I read a lot of comic books because, I mean, it's part of the French culture, and like it or not, it is very present here because we are the French-speaking province of Canada. Sorry. So all the Tintin books, all the Asterix, Lucky Luke. Just to tell you how old is this chart, they list quinacridone gold as PO49 still. I don't think you had the name. Well, Wisteria is the proper one. I don't think there's a periwinkle one though. There's a lavender one. But it's kind of close enough. It's a really similar color to periwinkle. Hey, Lila, hi. That would be really awesome, Heather. That would be really cool. Transparent yellow oxide. Sometimes I'm really envious of the people who can sort of get a small range of colors, and like it all fits into a 24 or 36 color palette, and that's it. I see all these colors and like my brain explodes. Anti-yellow ochre. Well, I really like it. I find, like, again, I think it's a very natural yellow. So whenever I need a yellow that feels natural, that is not for something that is excessively yellow, I go for yellow ochre because it's less unnaturally bright, if I can say that. What does extra fine mean in a watercolor paint? That's just like saying high quality. A lot of paints, like, you will hardly find a paint that says that they're not high quality. So most paints, even the student range, will often use extra fine. The fluff language they use to describe paints is something that really bothers me, because I don't find it really nice to kind of go at it so strongly. Like, whenever someone is new to the medium, it's really confusing because everything is like the best paint ever, the finest, the most transparent, the most bright, the most everything. And that's sort of not always true. Oh, well, if you ever meet them, Heather, that's the way you usually go about meeting people is you have cats, so this is probably nothing exactly new to you. But Pico is the shy one. She usually hides. She knows that there are new people about, but she will like stay in her corner and check things from afar. Scout will come and check you out, but you gotta let her go at her own pace. If you rush her, she's gonna hiss at you. But if you let her like sniff you and look you up, she gets super friendly. Like, whenever we get repairmen or like people here, if they don't bother her, she ends up head bonking them. She's a really friendly cat. But you gotta let her do it at her own pace, which is kind of funny. I mean, I can relate. I don't really like to be, pushed into people and like, God, get away from me. You gotta let me do it at my own pace too. Or the thing is that I think with most people with perhaps this inclination is that we can sort of, we can either act naturally and be like, really take things at our own pace or be really slow, or if we are forced to behave differently, we can pull it off, but for a much shorter time because it uses up the energy a lot faster. Daniel Smith has a newer sheet that has their color numbers on it for current mixes. Oh, I will have to get one of that one, I guess. I don't know, extra fine could refer to the pigment size too, but I don't think I've seen it. Well, it's written here, Daniel Smith extra fine, and I mean, it's a fine paint, but not all the particles are the same size, because you have some paints that are really granulating and some paints that are really staining. So I don't know. Oh, no worries, I'm well aware of cat intros and language. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm not worried. Like, I would warn you anyway, just you know, because, but like it's really superfluous. I mean, you speak cat, so I'm not exactly worried. People will want to come visit, not me, but the cats. I get it. Absolutely get it. Hey, Pasha, hi! Oh, I have a really old DeviantArt. I'm trying to post new stuff on it too, but it's Eve-Bolt, I think. Oh, no color swatches, just printed info. That's interesting. I'm really excited because Pasha sent me something really unique and I will make it into a video, and I'm really eager to try it out. Though I will have to write you again, Pasha, regarding process and if I want to go really in depth about the topic. I might have a bunch of questions. Coethite brown ochre. Okay. Why do they call it quinacridone deep gold instead of quinacridone gold deep? Quinacridone derp gold indeed. Oh, you're up to 50 watching. Wow. I guess a lot of people are on holiday. I do appreciate it though. I'm really thankful. Yeah, I want to sort of make a video out of it because I think that's really interesting stuff to share. We have a sort of a hashtag going for us that we call the hashtag Pigment Nerds. And I think that a lot of people in the community, if they aren't interested in pigment already, they end up being interested in pigments and where colors are from and that kind of stuff. Because the moment you start looking into paint and how it's made and where it comes from, and you know, some color names are really puzzling. And I spill stuff everywhere as usual. Especially in French, we have this stupid bladder green that makes me laugh always. But like when you have a color that is technically called bladder green, you're like, how come is it called like that? I don't think bladders are green, so what am I missing? English adjective first, French adjective last. What are we referring to? It's a very relaxing stream. Oh, I'm glad. I thought the granulation occurs also through the size of the particles, because the more you mull a pigment, the less granulating it gets. And basically the more you mull it, the finer it gets. I don't know. Yeah, bladder green is the same as sap green. It's just that in French it's called vert de vessie, which is technically... Oh, the descriptor. Yeah, but quinacridone deep gold. Or gold deep. That's still all English, isn't it? Yeah, yeah, I know. Bladder green. It's Vert de Vessie, and I think at some point the color was held in a vessie, in a bladder of an animal, like, and you would buy the color in a bladder, so it was called Vert de Vessie in French, but it's sap green in English, so it doesn't sound that weird, but I thought it was weird when I was younger, because I would see this color named Vert de Vessie, which translates to bladder green, and I was like, why? Oh my gosh, why is it called that? And then you see the English like name right under it, and it says sap green, and you're like, oh, okay, sap green makes more sense. I don't know why it's called Vert de Vessie in French, but weird translation thing going on. And when you sort of start looking it up, that's when it gets really interesting. And you learn how, like, why is it called Vert de Vessie in French? Oh no, Italian deep ochre. That's not too bad, I guess. Bladder could be gallbladder instead of urinary bladder. Well, what I had found about it is, yeah, like Mark says, pigment makers used to carry the pigment around in bladders. I think, like, back then they would use bladders for, like, you basically dry it and tan it, and it becomes kind of like a receptacle that you can put liquids in it. Do you watercolor every day? It depends. There are times when I paint a lot more often than others. Really depends on if I'm inspired or not, because it's not a constant thing. Like, there are moments I'm super inspired, and there are moments I'm really not inspired. I'm a bit in a moment where I'm not inspired, so I don't paint that much lately, but I try to. I really, it's something that has always been important to me, is that even if I don't feel like arting, or even if I'm not inspired, I gotta keep it moving. I gotta keep sketching something. So I will do really uninspired sketch when that happens, but I always keep the fingers moving. Like, it's a momentum that I like to keep going. So I will. I did a couple of them sketches on cellulose paper. And I'm just trying to keep producing things, even if I don't really feel like it. But yeah, I don't necessarily paint every day. I wish I could sort of figure it out and paint every day, because that sounds lovely. But I am not quite there yet. I mean, I could probably paint every day if I just kicked my butt into gear, because I definitely have the time for it. Have you ever used markers like Copics or something like that? Not much. Not a lot. Prefer to use watercolor. It tends to be more light fast as well. Sap green is weird too, since it's not really made from sap. So bladder green might be more accurate. It's made from a fruit, right? The actual sap green. Bladder for bile. It's possible, but it's not made from bladder parts. It's really made from a plant, so... Buckthorn berry green. Yeah, that would be the most accurate. Inspiration bug perspective from the center of... Can you imagine? That's something I sometimes, like, when I see my cats running after a bug, like an insect, I'm always like, can you imagine like, say you take a silverfish that Pico is trying to eat, can you imagine, like, if the silverfish could relate in human terms his perception of what's going on, just how intense it would be. You have, like, this humongous face that comes, like, puts this wet, cold noise on you and purrs super loudly, and you're just like, what is going on? And then you're stuck on the nose, because the nose is wet, and then the cat is like, whoa, there's something on my nose. So what Pico does is that she licks her front paws to transfer what's on her nose to the paw and then lick it. And she does that whether it's silverfish or dust. So it's really funny when it's actually dust, because she runs away shaking her head, and it's really, like, she doesn't look like super clever when she does that, let's just say. Oh, why is there a burnt yellow ochre that is a red pigment? I'm bothered. What's the point of this color, honestly? Do we need it? What's it like? I mean, it's nice on the swatch here, but the swatch don't really take into consider. Oh, you have a roasted French ochre too. It's basically just like French ochre or whatnot. There's like 3 versions of the same color on there. Because sure, why not? Well, I have a lot of art on DeviantArt if you want to see. I have some on Instagram as well. In terms of what you guys maybe haven't seen yet, can you show the couple of squitches? Yep. Like I made these blocks with colored cellulose paper because I wanted to try making blocks and I wanted to try using cellulose paper that is colored. So this one is light gray and this one is like beige cream something. So I was like, yeah, I should make an effort to finish these, you know. So I've been sketching on them. I've been sketching D&D stuff because why not? And I don't know, I don't like cellulose paper. I don't like it. It's just so difficult to make things look nice on it. Everything looks blotchy. Like, look at this. This is kind of a nightmare in the blotchiness department. And I'm like, why? Well, I don't know what to do with these blocks, so... eh. I haven't used Italian Venetian red, I think. Certain ochre rocks turn red when heated to a high temperature. Well, that's kind of what you get with the burnt umber, because raw umber is kind of greenish, and when you have burnt umber, it's a lot more red-brown. But it's just that I find that there's way too much of it. Like, they go way too deep into, like, ochre variants and all of that. I mean, it's fine. Possibly some people really enjoy it, but when you're looking at finding paints for their performance, it's really confusing that there's so many variations, but basically all on the same theme. Like this roasted French ochre. I don't know why they used roasted. Feels like I can eat it. Roasted marshmallow ochre. Oh, I don't know if you guys remember, but I finished one of the past, possibly last live streams drawing. I keep throwing everything on the floor. That can stay there. I know it's no longer Christmas, but I finished it. One pigment can produce so many different colors. That's true. All the pigment yellow 42 or 43, pigment red 101 or 102, PBR 6 or PBR 7, and then PV 19 that has like 7 different hues. Ooh, that's awesome. We have a chemist in the chat. Are you a chemist, Pasha, or are you just really into that kind of chemistry stuff? Thank you, Layla. Alright. What time is it? How busy is your day, guys? Do you have stuff to do? I really should clean up a bit more. You're not a chemist, you're just into this stuff. That's interesting. Where was was I? Roasted French ochre. I vote to call it roasted marshmallow ochre. The burgundy red ochre. Good grief, guys. Kind of loses its significance. Like yellow ochre, you can think yellow ochre and have an idea of what the color is supposed to be. But if I tell you burgundy red ochre, do you know what kind of color that is? It's like, hold on, let me check my swatch. Which is kind of... Did I? Oh, okay. I got confused there for a second. PR 102. I mean, it's not even called like Dragon's Blood or something. It's not even awesome. Just learning from making cyanotypes, but it has been taking me in many directions. Iron is pretty amazing. Who knew? I'm pretty sure that by not learning a bit more about like the if I could remember my words, that would help a lot forming sentences. You know, guys, the big grid with all the minerals on it. The thing you learn in chemistry. Like it has like Jesus. Oh, for Pete's sake, come on, computer, why do you suddenly decided to go to sleep? Thinking about crafting room. All pigment knowledge courtesy of me, Otto, and Denise. Yeah. None of us started being, you know, into this stuff. Sorry, but it's really hard to take a deep dive into paint without addressing pigment at some point. Yeah, periodic table of element. Thank you so much, Heather. I couldn't find it even in French. I was like, you know, the big thingy. But I think there's kind of a lot of interesting stuff going on about everything that's on there, and not a lot of us know about it. Bordeaux is, I don't know if it's a location, probably is, but it's also a wine. And yeah, it's probably called Burgundy because it comes from that place, but it's just like, I don't mind that kind of stuff when it comes from the Society of French Ochres, say. Because that's the whole point. They have come up with all these different earth minerals that are different colors and are quite unique, but you know what to expect from them. You know you're getting a bunch of ochres, and the interest is to see how they are different and how they're the same, and I might be overreacting also. But what kind of bothers me is that this comes without any frame of reference. Huh, that's funny. Where is that one? English Red Earth. You're here. And it's just like in the grand scope of things, they're just like thrown in with all these other colors, and whenever you want to look at the chart to know what you're gonna get or what you want to buy, there's all this stuff that is a bit out of context here that, I don't know, it bothers me. Like, they don't explain where it's from, you don't really know, is it just a fancy name for something that they found, or is it really from a specific place? Like, it's just feels a bit thrown in. I think my tea is really cold. I hope I finished it. I don't think I have. Did I mess it up? No, okay, Venetian red. Sorry. Whew. Oh, for Pete's sake, come on. wine growing region. Huh. A real in is called cobalt yellow in certain brands, so I guess that's a thing. Thank you. Oh yeah, that's the thing that's always hilarious. When cats have one of the zoomies moment, they make such a racket. Like, it's all these noises that you don't even know where they're from. Like, things are falling down, and when you go to check it out, you can't even find what has fallen down. And I don't know if you got your cats talk when they do that, Heather, but sorry, I've been talking too much. But I don't know, it's full of tea. Ooh, it is cold and strong. Ooh. But yeah, they make noises too with their mouth, like weird meows and whatnot. And we always make the joke, like whenever they get crazy, we're like, uh-oh. Like, did you write your will? we're doomed. Always make stupid jokes. It really sounds like a big battle is going on, but it's just a small cat running around. I don't know if you heard earlier in the stream, but Scout really loves to go wow, wow, and it's always hilarious. When it's like silent and you hear wow somewhere and you're like, uh-oh, uh-oh, she's coming. Havoc, she has zero traction and slides into everything. Of course she has zero traction. She's got like the so much fur between her toes. There's no way the beans have any tractions on there. I think she does relatively good considering just how floofy she is. I think it's is it Daniel Smith that calls a real in cobalt yellow? Or is it, yeah. See, they have their PY40 here, a real in cobalt yellow. It's one of the few brands I've seen that labels it that way, so I don't know. No beam traction. Absolutely none. Zero traction and zero coordination. Yeah, that's young animals. Kittens are like that too. Like, they have absolutely no coordination and it's hilarious. They wobble around and they try to attack stuff and it's just like, it's super random and really funny. Hey guys, that's not too bad. I'm here. And it ends there. Well, there. Well, here. Ugh, white colors. But, yeah, not too far from the finish line, right? Right? So I really appreciate that you are keeping me company while I do this. Because it would be possibly a lot less interesting to do it on my own. Quinacridone burnt orange. Havoc has really floofy beans. Well, I think the beans themselves are never floofy, but if the hair that grows around the beans is too floofy to let the beans touch the floor, that's... Chaos still has the lanky teenager lack of coordination thing going on. I think Linus is the same. Linus Linus seems to be just about the same age as Chaos, honestly. Like, they could be brothers. I don't have all these colors. Good gosh. I have a lot though, because I'm looking at this and I hope you guys can see, but all the colors where the name is sort of high lit, I think these are colors that I have, or at least that I have a pan that I exchange with someone, you know. I might not have the tube, but I have the pan of that color. So I ended up racking up quite a big selection of it. It's kind of sad because I don't really use them a lot. Just because I haven't really bothered to make a palette with them, and also they are annoying in palette form because some colors will just like don't stay in place. Unless, like, it might be better if you use the palette really often. But yeah, aside from that, it's kind of annoying to use Daniel Smith in a palette. But I could set up a studio palette with some of these colors. Yeah, I have a lot. Do I have Italian Venetian red? Where is it? Indian red, Venetian red. No, I don't have Italian Venetian red. Oh, thank you so much for being here, Tsukaboo. Have a nice weekend. Took me a moment to remember which day we are today. Yeah, it's kind of hefty. I don't have all these in tubes, but I have quite a bunch, I guess. I don't know if I should feel bad about that. I have a great big selection of schminke as well. And thanks to Otto, I have all of Holbein's range. I think I have a lot of paints, guys. So where was I? Quin Sienna. Pompeii red. Okie dokie. I think my pen is sort of drying. It has written a lot of swatches. Oh, it's a PBR7. Really? Interesting. It could be, but I don't know about you, Eliza, but over here in the summer, it's really humid. It gets dry in the winter because we have to heat up the places, but like even in the summer when it's super duper humid, I still struggle with my Daniel Smith paints. And even the trick I had found to help them stick better, sometimes even that doesn't pull it off. Which is super annoying, because if you want to set up a palette with these colors, like even if I use it only in here, it's, I don't know. I could make an effort. I'm rambling a lot, but basically it all boils down to you could make an effort. It's so easy to grab just like any kind of schminke palette and get going though. Very, very easy. Recollet. I'll have to get a pan so I can send you some and you can get triggered over it. Ah, sorry. Yeah. You've never had a Daniel Smith color that just detached from the pan and pops around. The schminke uses, I don't think they use honey. They use ox gall and gum arabic, but I don't think they use honey. They're not vegan, that's I know for sure. Yeah, I've mentioned it before, but I can sort of address it again in case you guys weren't there when I mentioned it. But basically I saw Peter Schiller, I think is his name, on YouTube. He does beautiful line and ink watercolor paintings. But I was looking at this palette of Winsor & Newton paints, which are some of the paints that also tend to roam around. And I noticed that he seems to use a piece of paper that he puts at the bottom of his plastic palette and then pour the paint on top. And I figured that it's worth trying because you can use double-sided tape to glue the paper in the palette, and then perhaps the wet paint will adhere better to a piece of paper, and that will prevent it from moving around. It has generally worked. Sometimes though the the whole thing detaches from the palette, like the paper as well, and I'm like, well, okay, I'm gonna just smush it back in. But yeah, that has never happened to you, Otto. Whoa, do you have like ultramarine blues in there? I can't believe it. Like, this is impossible. It could be the palette. But do you put them in? It was just like plastic palettes, the basic stuff. Hey, Sia! Is it palette paper? It's just watercolor, cheap watercolor paper. Do you clean the palette really well first? Yeah, I cleaned it up, and I mean, the thing is that it doesn't happen with all of their colors. But some colors just don't stick. They just don't. They got other stuff to do, I guess, than being a color in a palette. Oh, it's your favorite, Heather. Italian Venetian red. I kind of want to go off on it and be like Italian, Venetian, Hungarian, European, French red. You know, just put way too many of them in there just to make fun of it. I'm sorry, poor Italian pigments, but so far you're both pain in the butts. Pains in the butt? Yeah, a word like that. Something. I guess I'm getting near my my brain's limit. Quinacridone burnt scarlet. Quick scuffing with a nail file can sometimes help it grip. That's true. You guys know I don't like scraping at stuff. I don't know why. But like, people often say, oh, use a magic sponge in your palette and it's gonna not bead. I'm like, you know what? I would rather it bead. I don't really mind it that much. I guess I'm worried that if I scuff it too much, it's gonna rust instead, which is not something that I want happening to a palette. Perylene Maroon. I got a color, there was a sale recently, and I got a few colors that were on either like cheap or on discount, and the only one that was not cheap and not on discount was the manganese blue hue. But yeah, I argued with myself and I was like, do you take it, don't you take it? It's kind of pricey, but at the same time it's gonna be quite useful if it's a good dupe, and it could be a good dupe because it has the original pigment. And I was arguing with myself, but thing is I grabbed a few things along. I grabbed this color that I really wanted to try from Da Vinci, that is violet iron oxide. I don't know why. Oh, no, it's only one pigment. Why did I see? I thought it was two, but I'm really glad it's just one. It's just PR 101. But it really looks like the hue of Caput Mortuum that I really enjoy. Well, I said pain in the butts first, but I corrected myself, so... Oh my gosh, Sandra, that... I understand it, but to me that sounds so hardcore, abrasive. Like, it's not pans, it's a plastic palette, you know, with the wells, the slanted wells. But anyway, I got this one that I really wanted to try, but it's kind of not available every place they sell Da Vinci, I guess, and this tube looks kind of old too. But it looks to be the proper, like, Caput Mortuum color that neutralizes well with Cobalt Teal, which is my fav. And I saw that they had, like, pans of Schminke for, like, $4, and tubes of Holbein paint that were, like, a couple of dollars, like, not super expensive. And I was like, oh, well, awesome, I'm gonna get those. But I did not expect them to be vintage ones. And I was like, whoa, okay. Awesome. Like, I tried looking up this color from Schminke Horadam and I couldn't find it. It's called Opaque Green Light Imitation. And in terms of pigment, it only says phthalocyanine and zinc sulfide. And that's it. No pigment codes, no nothing. I was like, okay. And then this is Compost Green number 2 from Holbein. Also doesn't have any pigment info on the tube. It's a really old school tube, as you can see. And the like the band on it doesn't even look like the color. It's like this light minty green that I really like. And I was like, whoa! Way too cool! I was super happy. I really did not expect those to be vintage. They were not advertised as vintage, and the image on the website was not like the vintage thingy, and I was really impressed and kind of happy because those were quite a good deal in terms of pricing too, so you never really know. So that was a fortunate thing. I haven't posted swatches yet. As you can see, the it's kind of funny because I don't know if you can hear, but I'm thinking that the color in there is sort of loose. I can open it. Well, I can try, I guess. It's just Jeebus. I kind of don't want to like rip it off too harshly. Okay. Oh, it's the old pants too. It's not gonna show, but it's like not the current model of pants from Schminke, and it's this color. Looks good, but yeah, it's kind of loose. I will be posting swatches on Discord. Yeah, the previous generation of Holbein was, you can still kind of find it in some places. Like, it's not that old that it's impossible to find. But, like, those tubes, I have one really old, yeah, this is like whatever stream. That's fine. Where did I put that? Oh, okay. Hello. Oh, jeez. Ah, there it is. this is the box of odds and ends and weird things. It's a few samples in there. And a bunch of old tubes that are empty. So the other very old tube I had from Holbein was this rose madder one. It's from the same period as the composed green ones. This one just the cap ripped off completely. That's the thing that happens more often than not when a cap gets stuck. It's not the cap that gives way, it's the tube that gives way and tears off. And you have like a weird dysfunctional tube. Like I have, oh my gosh, old PBO when it was called Fragonard. Oh, there it is, that stupid white color. The very first set. Anyway. Oh, Heather! Thank you so much! So yeah, I had seen this kind of... This was a hand-me-down from my aunt who was a painter. And she had this weird single tube of Holbein in her stash, and this is like from the same generation. Yeah, I won't swatch these colors right now. I'm not set up for it. I think. I could. Yeah, I could do that. Hold on. It's not like this format is really, you know, unchangeable. If that's a word. Definitely gonna keep the packaging of those. Well, the pans mostly. But also the tubes. Like, in the same way I kept this one. If I finish one of these, I'm gonna keep it. That's kind of like part of paint. It's history. Oh, I don't think I could start a museum. I think Dan has a lot more vintage stuff than I do. Okay, so let's just... The Schminke one. So it's from... Oops. I can't write. Let's just grab a new one. I can... Let's not skip letters this time. Schminke. It's color... It's number 513. I think there's a new one that is called 513, but it's not the same as that one. And it's opaque green light imitation. That's not farts, that's my chair. Pigments are unknown. I cannot translate phthalocyanine and zinc sulfide into pigment numbers. And Holbein pigments, this one is not labeled either. It's composed green number 2. And is it numbered? 667, I think. Yeah. I'm gonna do something that is not ideal, but I don't have... Can I put something up quickly? I don't really have any water container nearby, but I have brush pens. Which are not ideal, but my chair sounds like an old dot printer matrix. Matrix printer? Old dot matrix printer, yeah. Ugh, I don't like those. What is that? Tap water. hold on. I'm searching. Oh, bye, Pasha. Thank you so much for being here. Zinc sulfide is possibly phosphorescent green. Oh, that would be really cool. It's a really greenish container, but it's supposed to be clean. Yeah. Let's make guard with this. Alright, give me a brush. I hope you guys can kind of see well. It's kind of funny that the mic is not in the frame. Always makes me laugh when they call a color opaque and this is what you get. I'm like, yeah, that's like semi-opaque at best. Oh, well, I can end it there if you want, if it's been too long and you guys have other stuff to do. Yeah, that's a pretty color. It's really nice. It's supposed to be light fast too, so that's kind of weird. So that's one. Oh, my nose is so itchy. I blame Scout. Live inside his dream. I don't know if you guys can see, but I hope so. This is a nice minty, kind of leaning on the blue rather than on a yellow side of things. It's a really nice color. And you're gonna tell me, well, it's so opaque, it's mixed with white. It is, but I mean, that has its use. Especially if you do a lot of illustration. I mean, they are convenience color, but that doesn't make them useless colors. That just make them convenience colors. It is so pretty. Oh, Scout contributed to this one. Oh well. Sometimes it's easier to try and remove cat hair when the paint is dry. So, oh, I got it. Awesome. There's another one here. Can I get it? Oh, I got it too. Oh my gosh, you have to fix the hole in your roof, Heather. So that's, I hope that's somewhat visible, but those are the two colors. This one is fairly unique as far as I can remember. Let's check out with the, it's not schminke, but it's Daniel Smith swatch just to see what kind of colors look similar. Alright. Yeah, there's a beautiful glare. That's super helpful. Thanks a lot. Okay, is this kind of... Oh yeah, the mic is fully in there. Hi, Mike. Hi, Mick. Mick, Mike. Okay, hold on. So, let's figure this out. So, there's nothing that's gonna be like this color because this one is white and green. Probably like white and PG7. This one, though, it looks possibly a bit like spring green from Daniel Smith. And that would be a mix of yellow, green and yellow pigment. Kind of looks, it looks a bit between this phthalo yellow green and the spring green maybe. They have a couple of colors in common. These both have PG36 in common. So PG36 is somewhere here, this one. So you can tell that there's definitely more yellow in this than this here. So it's kind of a bit like this or this. So spring green, permanent green light, and phthalo yellow green. Kind of looks similar to that one. Oh, Abel, hi. Sadly, the live stream is gonna end soon. It's been going on for 3 hours. Oh, geez. Dude, poor Heather, your neighbors really have no idea how to care for pets. That's a real bummer. Not very fond of people who can't take care of their pets properly. So I wonder, would that's not gonna fit on the back of this one, is it? Would be way too practical to be able to glue this on the back. Anyway. That's definitely gonna go into one of my palette. So I guess that's it for today. Oh, I still have tea. No, I forgot to drink my tea. If I drink, well, I can drink it now. Yeah, I will drink it now. So is there anything else you want me to address before I close this? I can go through the usual announcements before I do. First announcements, you guys are used to it, but we have a Discord server. That's technically a place where you can come to chat during the week. It's free. All you have to do is create an account. It's very easy to set up, and you can join us over there. We have channels for discussing paint, art, pets, all sorts of knitwork and crochet work. We have a space for discussing health issues, and yeah, everyone is super duper friendly. It's a really nice place to chat and hang around. And also, I want to say a great big thank you to Otto and Heather for being awesome moderators and always being like on the on the lookout for links and things to ban. And not that there's a lot of stuff to ban, fortunately, but yeah. I hope that I can sort of start posting more videos. It's always a bit difficult to keep a schedule during the holidays. But yeah, if I can sort of unblock my brain and get demo drawings done, it's gonna go a lot easier on the video making process. And there's a couple of things I want to try doing too, but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, if you want to see more stuff from me, Otto has posted so many links. Thank you so much. There's a Discord, I have a Patreon, I have Instagram where I post all my drawings. I'm on Twitter. That's mostly where I try to interact socially. And yep. I'm tempted to do another giveaway soon, but I have to figure out what about. It's gonna be paints, of course, but in what kind of shape or form is it gonna take? I'm not sure. So I hope you guys have a great weekend. I wish you all a happy new year. That's coming. No two ways about it. It's gonna be really funny to sign 2020 on stuff, and all the jokes about hindsight in 2020 are gonna be pretty intense on the Jad joke sides. Yeah, that joke side. Okay. I guess that's a clear sign that I'm about to end this. Hold on, I don't know if I can. Okay, so it's gonna be shaky cam a bit, but can you guys see the cat? You can't see the cat. Hold on. You can see my pajamas though. My very Canadian pajamas. Where is she? There she is. Scooty. I don't know if you can see her. Here. Boop, boop. So yeah, that's Scooty butt. And yeah, alright, so have a great weekend everyone. Have a happy new year. I hope it goes well for you. I hope the weather is friendly, and we will see each other quite soon. So bye bye. And Pekko said bye too. Ah oui? Tu penses ça, toi? Tu penses